So you buy a car, and you're making payments on it, but you won't be able to make them this month. They're going to be just a little bit late. So you call up the company to whom you make your payments, and they're like, that's fine, don't even worry about it. And then, when your payments are only a week late, your car gets repoed, sells at auction, and you have to pay the difference, just so you can get milked for all the money possible. What do? The poor get screwed over by almost all institutions in existence right now. Look at how predatory so many businesses have become towards the poor, where they game things so they're forced to use their service and then screw them over when they do use it. And there seems to be little oversight or recourse for the poor once they've been screwed over. This is all legal. It's all about taking everything they can from the people who have the least to lose, forcing them in a position of having to be preyed upon because the more reputable businesses won't deal with the poor. Try getting a car loan from a reputable dealer if you're poor or have bad credit. Doesn't happen. You have to go to the shady people for that, and they're going to take you for all you have if you slip up even once. And you're going to slip up somehow. You're poor. You're living month to month as it is. And the flip side of that coin is how the rich are treated, even when they do go so far as breaking the law. You know the joke that when you get caught with pot, you go to prison, but if a celebrity does the same thing, then they don't even get prosecuted and maybe have to go to rehab or some resort prison. They don't have the same kinds of issues, but where their hardships do meaningfully intersect with the poor, the rich have massive resources for recourse. It's all about the money, Lebowski. Those who have the least need for a safety net are given the best one, and those with the most need are given the least to fall back on. It's almost as though your money stockpile is the total value of you as a person. If you're poor, you don't deserve to feel secure or have the support of others. Only the rich deserve to have second chances. And what do you think our recourse is collectively as the poor? Votes, since those still technically can't be bought, and ousting the corrupt so we can try to change things to a culture of caring about the worst off first and foremost? That's a nice idea, if not for the voter suppression laws under the guise of voter ID laws meant to address the almost non-existent issue of voter fraud. So I guess we have hope with the vote, so long as they don't take that shit away from the poor too. No, I think things need a change in the culture. This idea of wealth translating to the value of a person needs to change. Right now, our society seems to have largely bought into the lie of capitalism, that those who work hard and have drive get rich, but the lazy are poor. We all know that's bullshit. I'm not saying you don't need to put in effort to garner success. I'm just saying success shouldn't be measured in terms of wealth, and isn't necessarily a derivative of how much work you put in. Too many seem to hold out hope that their hard work will magically make them rich, or that they need to support the rich now because they or their children may eventually join their illustrious elite. It's a hard truth to swallow that many of us may have to accept that we simply are where we are. And even though it's unfair, we can't change it. We need to collectively understand that there will be wealthy and poor, and this has little to do with ethics or hard work. It's a lot of luck and opportunity, as well as having the lack of morals necessary to exploit people to keep that money flowing. I don't think votes are the key to fixing this. At least, not so long as we have so many people who believe anyone can get rich just by working hard enough. There isn't enough room for all the hard workers and innovators to make it to the top. And for every one that does make it, there are at least dozens who never go anywhere with it. I think if people could be made to understand that usually the poor are poor through no fault of their own, and that they're just like everyone else in the end, we might see people treating this a lot differently. Right now, though, anyone on food stamps is a lazy leech. Federal housing assistance? Only for those lazy people who won't work hard to get their own place. WIC checks? Those are for slutty mothers that didn't have enough sense to not get knocked up. We make villains out of those who need help. Of course we're not going to fight for the rights of the poor. As it stands, society sees those below them as deserving of their fate. Something they brought down themselves for being something wrong. What's even worse, I think, is this idea that the poor should be striving on their own to make things better for themselves. That no one else should be helping them. That it's not the problem of everyone else that these people are poor and suffering. We have poor people saying they don't want help because they're too ashamed to admit that they need it. Or they feel that no one should need help to survive. This idea that each of us should be some kind of island, completely self-sufficient and able to make it on our own. That's a big problem. We all need help sometimes in our lives, but we're taught to feel ashamed of it, as if it's a sign that we fucked up. Stop dehumanizing the poor because of fear of becoming them or hope that you'll be better. The real life result of your attitude is that real people continue to suffer. And more than have to. We all depend on one another. The rich depend on the poor for all manner of things, but the poor very rarely see any return for all that they do for them. The rich exploit the poor as if it's their right to do so by dint of their wealth. And most of them seem to feel that they owe nothing in return to the people who made their success possible. People need to be taught that it was our collective effort that made this nation flourish in the first place. And only with us all working together can we continue to flourish. No one has ever been wealthy by virtue of their own effort, ever. It can't ever happen. You invent something to better things. Lots of people had to put in their effort to invent the thing that you are now improving upon. Did you make something new? Good. But others had to build the things you use to make that new thing. Innovate some process in a revolutionary way. Someone else had to create that process for you to innovate it. Hell, people had to build the roads that companies use to ship their products, to commute to their jobs, to even walk to the store, whatever they do. You cannot escape the fact that everything we do now is built around the work put in by millions of other people. All of us rely on the efforts of others to do most anything. Inter-motherfucking-dependence. I made a whole video on this before. Link below. I'll leave you with that. Long days and pleasant nights. 51 minutes of footage. This is going to be fun to edit.